Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the recap while you guys finish up anything on your end that you still have. You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, so with whatever fell effects vanquished, the Clockwork Nervin again finds itself in motion. After some quick first aid from Ravi, the captain approaches the party, requesting their help in getting revenge against the pirates who attacked her ship and killed her crew and husband. Chiaki also gives a refund to Shinaru and Lord Thatchard, and Ravi declines her. After a gift from Jimmy Dean, Ravi has a short conversation with Lord Thatchard, where they agree to work together in investigating the reports of undead. The next day, the party arrives at Kirkwall, disembarks with the intent of booking room and board at the Earless Bugbear Inn. On their way, the young leopard Nim steals some fish, and everyone but Ravi notices that she's been pickpocketed. Trying to catch the group of child thieves, Shinaru almost murders an innocent old woman. Shenanigan ensues. Later, after offloading their things in their room, the group heads over to a local leather worker, where additional shenanigans ensue. Sarge eventually heads to the honest blacksmith, Jimmy Dave, where the dwarf is offered a good deal for some shields and weapons. Only takes a couple of those good deals and sets off in search of better deals. Upon not finding any, Sarge returns to find the corpse of Jimmy Dave in a pool of blood. Ravi confirms that he's dead, finds a single needle-like puncture wound on his neck, and alerts the guards to the death. The halfling architect, Jamal, takes a moment to speak with Sarge. The party learns of a sealed passage within the sewers, which they agree to investigate. They return to the inn where Ethel is their waiter. Eventually, you all head to bed. Rest comes pretty easy. For you, Shinaru, because you're an elf, you only have to trance for about 4 hours. So while everyone else is asleep, you have about 4 hours of free time. Is there anything you want to do after you wake up? Quote unquote wake up.
I'll just shake on Nim. Let's see. What time is it right now? I mean, what time do we end up going to bed?
I would say, unless there's any unless you want a different time, I'd say you probably all headed to bed about 9ish.
Sounds about right.
That's about 1 in the morning.
But I'll immediately just kind of check on Nim, and then see how she's doing, and then just kind of keep watch, I guess.
Okay. Do you have Nim's sheet up? Okay, what is Nim's attack modifier? Melee.
It would be +2.
+2? Okay, does 6 hit your armor class?
No.
Alright, so as you reach out and you shake Nim, she wakes up and is not very happy at being woken up and attempts to bop you on the nose. And just she almost hits, but then her leg starts twitching violently, and she just completely misses. She meows at you pitifully.
Okay, let me just remind me on this one. It's we have adjoining rooms, but like who's physically sleeping or resting in each room? Was it
last session? It was you and Shinaru in a room, and Sarge in his own.
I think that was going to be the original plan, and then we decided to change it to where it was going to be me in my own room because I'm female, and them two, the boys, in another room.
Yeah, no, I mean that works fine. You didn't say that out loud yet, so we're good.
We didn't.
Yeah.
It's okay.
All right, so it is Shinaru. Nim has meowed pitifully. You probably hear Sarge snoring. I'm sorry, I missed what you said you would do after checking on Nim.
I was gonna kind of keep an eye out out the window to make sure there wasn't
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a spot check. There is a lot of moonlight, so you have dark vision, so you can see pretty good outside.
So 16 total.
16 total. All right. There's the occasional passerby that you see out the window. On the road. Nothing seems too shifty. Nothing seems too hip or happening. About how long do you stay just kind of looking and keeping watch out the window? The entire until everybody wakes up, or For only like an hour, or just like this one time?
Probably for about an hour or so, and then I'll just kind of mingle around about, or just kind of like sit in the room until everyone else wakes up.
Okay. So speaking of waking up, Ravi. So you're not normally the type to dream, and while many people claim as such, for them it's simply that they just don't remember what they dream. But for you, for the Azamar, dreaming is an actual rare, near-divine experience, and you've only had 3 dreams throughout your life. The first of an old, grandfather-looking man smiling at you and filling you with warmth, and you were told that this is the first dream that all Azamar in your family have, at least according to all written accounts. The second dream was of something far more childish than any of the others. It was of a young boy from a local village pulling you aside one morning, serious and stern-looking in his eyes. He said that his family's vineyard was suffering and that he thought you could help give Paler's blessing, since you were special, since you were an Azamar. And he offered you some candy as a teeth. And sure enough, not 3 weeks later, the very events that you dreamed about came to pass, and that was your first experience with the taste of candy, and that was your first real taste of the superstition that surrounds the Azamar. And the last dream that you had was without faces. It was without laughter or charm or warmth. It was just your arms and your hands and the suture and the blood. The gargling of blood and bile is all you heard. The hot, wet tears awoke you from that dream. And 3 days later, your friend and mentor Zachary died while you were performing surgery. His last words, meant for his young wife, lost to the sensation of your panic attack and the sound of your sobs. But today was different. It was like something was trying to implant visions in your dreaming mind. But when you woke up, you didn't remember anything. And speaking of waking up, I need everybody to roll a listen check. Sarge and Ravi at a -10 because you're still asleep.
1.
Okay.
Hold on, I have to pull up my sheet because
I got a natural 20.
fuck you. You said a listen check, right?
Yes, please.
There we go. 8.
Okay, so oddly enough, you and Sarge are both still awoken by a clanking and a clamoring. It almost sounds like a boulder being scraped across a chalkboard, or like multiple hammers hitting the pavement, or like thunder outside drawing closer. And it's just this clink, clink, clank that brings you and Sarge to consciousness, and it's very grating on your ears, Shinaru.
Do I recognize the sound?
It takes you a moment. Well, it takes you a couple moments because you rolled a 1, but eventually you do recognize. Yes, it is. It's your patron.
God, that boy in his armor. How many times have I told him what is this awful noise I'm hearing? To keep it oiled for the love.
I knock on the door between our rooms and go, do you guys hear that? Do you know what that is?
It's the sound of you. The sound of pain is what it is. It's the sound of youth not listening to their elders.
I'm very confused. Can you guys let me in here for a moment?
Just get dressed and go down to breakfast companies here.
Okay, I guess I do what Sarge says.
It is nearing sunrise. Did you want to pray first?
Yes.
Okay. So you do that. You get your spells back. Everybody who is missing hit points, you heal 5 hit points from your rest. It's every time you take a full rest, you get 1 hit point back per character level. And aside from that, eventually, you all make your way down, and you meet the young Maxwell Thatcher. His eyes bright, his face chipper, his armor very not silent, and it seems that he, among various other things, is a morning person.
Told you. Sound to do.
I fail to see the connection.
Adorning his head is a metallic helm, forged of a gray swirling iron alloy, and above his left pectoral is a badge of some kind. Sarge, you do recognize this as his full combat attire.
Something's up. Let's go talk to the kid and get some breakfast.
Okay.
Let's see if he notices you.
Is he alone? Or is, my homeboy with him?
Jimmy Dean?
No, the architect.
No, the architect indicated that he would be around, he would come around noonish. This is closer to, like, 5:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So yeah, he notices you, kind of approaching him. He gives a wave that's a little louder than you would like.
5:30 in the morning. 5:30 in the morning, everything's a little louder than I'd like.
Sarge, I took the liberty of ordering breakfast for us. I think I got you something you're gonna like.
Well, that's much appreciated. What'd you order?
And it's about that time a waiter comes over and puts a mug down, and it looks to be some kind of ale. It has a slightly teal tint to it, and the smell hits you, and it's like a very faint mixture of saffron and asphalt, and you recognize this as a moderate vintage of dwarven ale.
Pick it up, take a little bit of sniff at it. It's an opaque mug, right? Like they don't have it's yeah. Like hold it up to the light, like why are you such an asshole?
What light? It's 5:30 in the fucking morning. There's candlelight.
Yeah. Just pick it up. Kind of take an appreciative, like wafting. Take a sip of it.
It's stronger than anything that you've had in a long time. It's generally very difficult to get any kind of dwarven ale outside of the dwarven strongholds. It's not your favorite vintage. It's not your preferred strength, but it's a little bit of a taste of home compared to the human wine that you've been having to deal with the past couple weeks.
Take that sip, let it linger, close my eyes. Pure bliss on my face. Swallow. Just put it down and go, kid, I don't know how you pulled that off, but morning's starting a little bit better. Let's get down to business.
In front of you, Ravi, you do notice it seems to be kind of steaming hot, and it's a weird, like, murky brown color with some foam along the top. And it smells quite interesting.
Part of me wants to almost cast Purify Food and drink.
You do notice that he is drinking the same thing.
Sarge is drinking the same thing?
No, Lord Thatchard is drinking the same thing.
I was going to take one little sip of it and see how it tastes.
Upon seeing you do that, he kind of brightens up a little bit and he says, I didn't know what you like, so I got you some hot cocoa. It's my favorite way to start the morning. I hope you like it.
I immediately chug it.
And Shinaru, he clearly doesn't know what elves eat or drink on a daily basis, and it's very clear to you that he made some assumptions. At first, based on the coloring, you think it's wine, but you quickly realize it is just some kind of freshly squeezed grape juice.
I was gonna say, you'll drink that. Or cranberry.
She gets sip of it, goes, kind of looks at it, kind of swirl it around. Fine choice.
Wonderful vintage. Foster party.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, breakfast itself is put down. It looks like he ordered you, Sarge, something similar to like a country fried or chicken fried steak, but it's not steak. It's some kind of other animal.
Venison?
Say again?
Like a venison?
And technically closer to sea lion, but Sarge wouldn't know that.
Oh, there's probably all kinds of fatty livery.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
He ordered you, Ravi, some kind of breakfast crepe. And again, making some assumptions about elves, Shinaru, you get a lot of fluffy breads, a dish with what has like 2 or 3 different kinds of butter, a couple dishes with some different kinds of jams, and some pancakes. No meats at all.
Someone's watched Lord of the Rings.
Right. Robbie's just kind of sneakily snitching some of Shinaru's pastries. Especially the ones with jam on them.
Is there anything with chocolate on it? Any of his pastries? Like a chocolate?
No, they're not pastries. It is just bread. Like, really fluffy bread.
Pieces with jam. Do I have to roll for that? Do we have to roll sleight of hand for that?
It would be, yes, it would be sleight of hand. I believe you just need a 15 since they're unattended, but I will double check while you roll.
Okay. I got 20 total.
20 total? Okay. Let me double check.
Oh, Kovac, where's the cat?
I'm sorry, what are you doing towards the cat?
No, I said, where's the cat? How's the cat?
The cat is still asleep up in your guys' room.
Okay. I was gonna play cat stealing the other bread.
No food for Shinaru. He must starve.
Shinaru, if I could get you to roll a spot check.
Oh, fuck you!
26 total.
So yes, you see Ravi kind of sneakily glance around, and that makes you a little concerned. So you watch as her hand slowly inches towards a piece of bread with some jam on it. You see her pick it up. She looks left and right past you, doesn't even notice that you're looking directly at her, inches the bread closer to herself, before quickly her hand darts up to her mouth and she takes a bite.
I'm just kind of like make sure that all goes into your stomach and not my cat's this time. Stars are just sitting there watching the shenanigans, silently judging, looking at Flint like, do you believe? Kind of making a what the hell like gesture at Flint, like what's going on.
Flint seems to be giving you a knowing look. Like, he's right there with you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the rock is sentient.
You don't know. Gotta get those mimics somehow. Okay, so, what would you guys like to do as you're eating breakfast? And keep in mind, despite the fact that the food is very good, and that you are starting to get some caffeine and alcohol into you guys, every time Lord Thatcher moves, there is a scraping sound that is slowly grating on your nerves.
Boy, what did I tell you about oiling your armor?
Oh, I do that every day. Twice a day, sometimes.
And have we taken care of our armor today?
Yes, I had 2 servants help me with it before I came over here.
Alright. How'd your day go yesterday?
Not too bad. I had some interesting conversations. I learned a little bit. What about you guys? Did you find any leads?
We found a dead body.
And he looks a little concerned as you say that, and he says, "Well, I've actually heard a rumor that there's been about 4 dead bodies found in the past week."
Well, we either made number 4 or 5, I'm not sure which.
They were... Was this one found in a pool of its own blood, which apparently never coagulated?
Yes.
Oh. They've all been found like that. That's concerning to me. I mean, I'm not a physician, but that doesn't sound like it normally happens.
Has there been any connections to all the victims?
I don't know personally. The individual I was talking to was not a part of any kind of police force or investigation service. These are just rumors that have been going around the town.
As Dan was saying yesterday, we went to, sell some of our loot. Just happened to run into the guy, mere hour.
Yeah.
Walked away, came back to talk to him again about another item, and there he was in a pool of his own blood. No rhyme or reason to it, so it seems.
Do we know the locations of the other bodies that were found? Was it similar to ours? Or this is what I'm asking. What was the location of the bodies? Do we know?
Do you know, or do you know somebody who does know, so we can ask them?
I personally don't know. I assume that I could talk to the captain of the guard or something like that to find the information out.
That would be good.
Alright, yeah. I'll add that to my to-do list.
And, that architect guy.
Yeah, I totally neglected to write down his name, I'm sorry.
Jamal.
Jamal.
I was gonna say, I think it was Jamal.
Jamal.
Yeah, has Jamal been in contact with you? We're meeting him here about noonish today. Seems there's some strange things going on that he discovered down in the sewers.
No, he has not been in contact with me personally, but if there's something strange going on, I'd like to help with that if I have time.
Yeah, we got a couple of weird things going on. I mean, deaths going on where there's no trace of, how people get in or out, and, sewers are a real convenient way to get around unseen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, we're not meeting Jamal here until noon, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we go with Thatcher to question the captain of the guard or whatever, see what we can get about the dead bodies.
Ravi, roll a sense motive check.
But my dice is so far away. Natural 20.
Natural 20?
With my sense motive, that's 24.
Okay, give me 1 second. I have to pull up the skill. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. 15. You notice him go a little rigid when you offer to go along with him, and he's grimacing ever so slightly, and you just vaguely notice it. Out of the corner of your eye, you see his posture and his body language changes slightly, and with your roll, you realize he's probably uncomfortable with the prospect of a bunch of, for lack of a better term, peasants accompanying him to talk to someone in a high position. He's just too polite to say anything.
I'm just gonna look directly at him and say, was it something I said?
It's more something that you're gonna do, he says.
Yes?
It's... Well... I would probably have to flaunt my position a bit, and it would be rather uncouth of me to do that with individuals who aren't titled.
Then we'll leave Sarge and Shannara to their own devices, and I shall accompany you. I'm sure they'll be welcoming of a person of the church, even though there are not many ties here.
Actually, I think that would be... He thinks for a moment, he nods a little bit. I think that would be a very clever idea. Yes, absolutely. I would love to have you accompany Milady.
Thank you. We can have these two as our guards up to the door, and then you flaunt your way to the position, and we ask our questions, and we leave.
Fantastic. Is there anything else any of you guys want to do here at the tavern?
No. Well, if we're gonna... Are we heading out now? I mean, 6 o'clock in the morning. How long is it gonna take us to get over there? When are they expecting us?
They're not expecting us. We're just showing up.
Excellent.
But we show up early enough in the morning, and if Thatcher flaunts his position enough, we should get in pretty quickly if the guard captain is up already.
Alright. Well, let's get upstairs. Get our stuff gear together.
I was gonna say secure our belongings.
Secure our belongings, secure the rooms.
Alright.
Not on us.
Sarge, go ahead and roll me a secure check.
Secure check.
Roll a search check, but this isn't for you looking for things. This is you double checking to make sure that you have adequately and strongly secured everything that you that might be needed to be secured.
17.
17. All right. You quickly secure the windows, the door, the bed, every nook and cranny. You just kind of double check. You take a quick account of what is present in the room, and then you do a second sweep to make sure that everything was properly secured the first time. You're just taking that little extra precaution.
I was actually 19, sorry.
Well, 19, that's even better.
Sorry, I forgot. I had a +2 and I was looking at Robbie's sheet.
Alright. Yeah, so 19, that is even better. You do the same thing, just better.
Better.
So the room, as far as you are aware, is adequately secured. Shinaru, if I could get you to make a wild empathy check. So you're going to add it's a d20, and you add your ranger level and your charisma modifier.
That'd be total 14.
So you do your charisma is 0.
Wait, so you rolled an 8?
9.
9.
5.
Right, because you're level 5. I forgot that you guys were only level 5.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit, you're going to die in the first encounter. No, I'm kidding.
What are their CR levels?
Well, I thought you guys were level 19. It's not my fault you didn't level... No. So you said you got 14? You take about a minute, but you seem to get Nim to come around, and she does seem to be looking a bit better. She seems to be feeling a bit better, although occasionally, every now and then, one of her paws will twitch wildly, and she does have a little bit of an issue walking in a straight line. But she seems to be doing better, and she seems to be not mad at you. Although you almost swear that she's giving Ravi the stink eye anytime she sees her. Like she's plotting something.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring her with just so I can kind of keep a little bit better eye on her. But she'll, of course, be around my neck like normal.
Okay. You do, at this point, notice she does seem to have grown about an inch in length from about the time that you guys had initially boarded the ship around a week ago. And then, yeah, you guys head out. Lord Thatcher did not come upstairs with you. He muttered something about stairs being his natural enemy.
Gee, I wonder why.
Contract. Yeah. And Sarge just rolled his eyes and walked up the stairs.
All right, yeah, you guys head out. You guys head towards the guardhouse.
I'm sorry, I just have this vision of him walking at 6 o'clock in the morning, making all that noise, and like people just like coming out of their like windows and looking out.
Oh no, it's even better. It's even better because he was humming, he was whistling, he was singing to himself. He was very jolly. Like he looked happy, he looked energetic, and he was just making up a cacophony of rackets. All right, so yeah, you make it to the guardhouse, and I'm going to reduce this to a number of skill checks, real quick. Lord Thatcher talks to the guard on duty outside the guardhouse, convinces him to let them in to see the guard captain, with a roll of 23. And so you, Ravi, and he head in, and the guard captain is Michelle. Roll a d20. 9. 9? Okay. The guard captain is a... okay. The guard captain is a dwarf. Kind of older, like halfway through middle age. Bright, red hair, little bit of a stubble that neither of you are able to notice. Big sombrero. I don't know if you remember this. None of you saw her, but this is the dwarf that Sarge saw last session.
Excellent. So we're out, yeah, we're not in the city then. We just can't wear hats in the city. Right?
That is correct. You had to exit the gates, and right outside, this is the same guard station, guardhouse, where you had initially left Ethel last session.
Okay, because we're still in the city.
No, you're just outside the city.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you left Ethel outside the city at the guardhouse before going in. The first time you found her, after Shinaru knocked her unconscious.
So, I can't move me.
She can move,
I can move them, but I can't move me.
Well, that's because you're not real. You're just a figment of your imagination.
I'm a figment of Flint's imagination is what it is.
I mean, you're not wrong, technically.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Ravi, if I could get you to make a diplomacy check.
10 total.
Okay. You do not successfully aid Lord Thatcher, but with his roll, you get 3 questions that you get about 3 questions that the guard captain is willing to answer regarding these bodies. So, what would you like to ask?
Where were the other bodies found? Help me out here, guys. What 3 questions do we want to ask? Where were the other bodies found?
Any connections to them? Any commonalities or connections to the poor victims?
Any idea who or what might have been causing this? Or
any witnesses?
Yeah, any witnesses. We'll go with any witnesses. So, where the bodies were found, any connections between them, and were there any witnesses to any of the deaths?
Okay, the guard captain gives a brief summary of where each of the bodies was found. So, in your inventory, you can add a list of body locations. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second question was...
any connections between
Connections.
the deaths?
Or
between the victims.
It appears that they were all lived alone, didn't have family, or if they do have family, the family was either out of town or would be gone for multiple days at a time, so they were normally living alone. They were relatively like low income to lower middle class. All of them so far appear to be male, and those seem to be the only connections that stand out at the moment, or at the very least, the only connections that the guard master is willing to reveal.
Okay.
And then the last one was
Any witnesses?
witnesses.
Yeah, were there any witnesses to any of the deaths?
Actual witnesses to the deaths, it doesn't appear so. Like, no one actually saw these people get murdered. There are, of course, the people who reported the deaths after the fact. And the only witness, quote-unquote, that really seems to stand out was there was a young woman who did go and get a couple of guards and bring them to the most recent body.
Which would have been me.
Yes, and he begins to describe you, turquoise eyes, blonde hair, kind of very tall, youngish
I just
looking.
kind of stare at him until he gets the idea.
She.
Or she. I just kind of stare at her until she kind of gets the idea.
Roll a sense motive.
9.
9. She's kind of hard to read. You're not sure if she's fucking with you or if it's a case of, all people, all humans look the same to her, but she isn't smiling, she isn't laughing, and she isn't giving indication that she's putting two and two together. It's very possible that she's fucking with you though, but she's hard to read.
Okay.
She got a 19. So, is there anything else? Oh no, she's actually like looking at you and Thatcher and asking.
I know.
And Shinaru and Sarge are not there for you to ask if there was anything else that you wanted.
I wasn't asking them in character.
Which would be metagaming.
Too bad.
I mean,
Not that I can discuss.
Legit, we could have discussed it on the way there.
you did, which is why I let her ask you for the 3 questions. But at this point, anything else?
Yeah.
I was going to say no, thank you for your time. May Taylor bless you.
Alright, I'll write that down in your role-playing experience. And the whole thing took about, to get there, to have the conversation, about 30 minutes, so it's about 6:30, 6:40.
Well, we unloaded all our stuff, didn't we? Basically, except for mine.
I'm pretty sure. Except for what you went to go sell to
To the dead guy.
the dead guy again. So you're gonna have to go back. We're already here at the harbor. You can see if that other comes up with.
Shit, was it
It was
shield? No, I did sell them. Most of them out. I think I still have 3 shields left.
Yeah, you had initially said that you would sell half of the shields, you would go see if you could find a better deal, and if you couldn't, you would come back and sell the rest to him.
And he died. So, can I go ahead and try to find
Yeah, go ahead and...
Can I try to find a ship just to offload the rest of these last 3 shields?
Yeah, you talk to a couple people, you get a couple different prices, and ultimately you're able to offload... I'm sorry, what kind of shields are they? They're...
Steel. Just the 3 medium steel shields that I got off the kobolds.
Knolls?
Knolls, sorry. Real Knolls.
Do they happen to say if they're light or heavy?
I don't know if that's specified.
Okay. In that case, let me look up real quick what kind of shields they were wearing. You are able to offload all 3 shields for a total of 30 gold.
That's pretty low. I got 84 from the other guy.
No, you got... No, that's not... Because you also sold axes and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll take 30 gold. Let's just get it.
Yeah. No, 30 gold is actually that you'd be selling each one for 10 gold, and that is half of what it costs to buy. So that is actually like right on like high-end market what you could sell them for.
Yeah, I took them off my inventory.
Okay. And is there anything else any of you want to do before eventually meeting with Jamal?
I actually want to go and see if I can't find anywhere that sells healing potions real quick. Or any type of healing stuff.
Okay, yeah. Roll a gather information check.
Yeah, Shannara was going to do the same thing too, because last session.
Are you going to go off on your own, or are you kind of tagging along and helping Ravi look?
Well, I figure since Robbie's going that direction anyway, I may as well just go ahead and follow her around or help her gather.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a gather information check, and then if you roll higher than 15, Ravi, add 2 to whatever you rolled.
Okay.
3.
Nope. So 15 total for me. He did not help.
Okay. I mean, he tried to, but it's like every time he went and talked to someone, instead of just quickly asking, hey, where can I get some healing stuff, he started asking about their life story and their passions, and, wow, what is this weird pretzel art? Is it edible? So he did not really help you too much. Eventually, you do find what appears to be a particularly wide kiosk that's been set up within the bazaar that does have a number of different vials filled with various liquids, potions, probably some non-healing materials as well. So yes, you are able to purchase healing potions if you would like to, if you have the gold.
How much do the healing potions run, and what kind do they have?
I believe it would be... they are potions of cure light wounds, and they cost, I believe, it is 50 gold each.
50 gold piece? Okay. I'm gonna ask, do you accept checks from the church?
The individual looks at you curiously for a moment, and as he asks, what church would that be? I'm going to roll to see if this individual does.
The Church of Palor.
He looks at you kind of funny, and he says, "No, sorry, we take coin currency only."
That's fair.
You do know that the way that the checks work is whomever you're writing them out to, they would have to take them to one of the larger monasteries or church officiary buildings in order to quote-unquote cash it, to get the payment authorized. So it's more likely that it would be someone who either had the means to do that or like a chain store kind of thing. So like you could use them at Walmart, you could use them at like Safeway. You probably wouldn't be able to use them at the antique store in Old Town.
Okay. How many potions did you say he had?
I didn't, but you see 5 or 6 or 7. You see 7.
7? Okay.
So.
I'll buy 5.
Okay, that's going to be 250 gold. And he pauses for a moment, and then he picks up... No, he doesn't. Okay, you're good.
Yeah. Okay.
He kind of peers at you for a second, and he says, "You are lovely woman. Do you have special person in your life?"
What do you mean by special person?
Do you have someone, how do you say, who you want to spend a life with?
I have my god Palor.
No, I mean the real person.
Palor is real.
But is he person?
He's a god.
Oh, gods are not people.
I feel like that's a personal opinion.
He holds up a long, thin vial filled with a very soft pink liquid, and he says, "You buy this, okay? Whoever drinks it, they get charmed by first person they see. If that person is you, you have special person in your life now. You buy?
How much is it?
For you, 150 gold."
I'll give you 150 copper.
He thinks for a moment, and you can see him kind of going through and seeing if he's translating your words right. And he's like,
I
no.
would say it's almost like gold. Very similar color.
I mean, there are many potions that are almost like healing. Would you rather I sell you those instead?
Nah, I'm good. I've already got those 5 that you gave me anyway.
Okay. And then he looks to you, Sarge, and he says, "What the wait? Actually, Sarge, did you go along with them?"
Yeah.
Okay. You dwarf. Do you have a special little bearded lady in your life?
Got the town drunk. That goes up.
I mean, I feel like everybody's had the town drunk.
Everyone's at the town.
Good, like a one with experience.
Well, okay. And he takes the vial and he puts it back in its original place. Shinaru, you said you were accompanying Ravi. Did that mean that you also wanted to buy any healing potions?
Yeah.
Okay. There are 2 left. They are. Okay, yeah, you successfully purchased 2 Cure Light Wounds. Potions of Cure Light Wounds.
Your line is what, 1d8?
1d8 plus 1. Is there anything else that you want to, either of you, any 3 of you, want to try to buy?
I got everything off my bucket list I wanted to do.
Would there be any shop that might help me identify that those crystals that I got?
Yes. Yes, there would be.
I would like for that.
All right. Roll a gather information check to determine how long it takes.
Stand by.
Standing by.
That's right, I have shit for prison. Oh fuck, it's gonna take all goddamn day. 5.
Oddly enough, it's about 3.5 weeks later when you stumble upon. No, I'm kidding.
Sarge's out of wine. It's a bad situation.
Yeah. You actually just get into the ocean and float back across to the mainland. That's how long it takes. You're asleep the whole time. You do find it's not a kiosk, it's not a stand, it is a small tent that you go inside. Very much set up like a gypsy fortune teller type tent. And after a brief conversation with the woman, and her realizing that you're not wanting her to tell your fortune, you're wanting her to identify some items, she does tell you that she does offer that service. It's about 110 gold per item. Although, if you need a large number of items identified, the price does go up slightly.
Well, it's really.
You do know that
I mean, it's like I
2
was
of
trying to
the
speed up the process. You know, I would like to have known what it was.
Yeah.
What it was before I go into battle with it.
2 of the crystals are the same, so you would only need to identify one of them to know what both of them do. And then you do have the other items that are not crystals that you could get identified.
Right, because it was the armbands. We weren't 100% sure what they did.
The eye patch.
And the eye patch, the armor.
And the weapon that you're currently using.
Yeah, because I'm a badass that way.
You do know, just vaguely from your most basic understanding of magic that you had to go through in school, any kind of identification would also give you the command words to activate any weapons or armor that you have if they have any additional enchantments.
I do want to, it's like, I'm going to ask her, well, I've got this crystal here and some armor and a couple of accessories, I guess you could call them, and I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. Before I start utilizing them, I'd like to have a better idea of what I'm getting myself into, so to speak.
Yes, I can help with that.
And of course, I would expect, of course, to pay a fair price for your services. But how much do you think for the multiple items?
Well, if you only have 3 items, it would be 110 gold each. And for the 4th item, that would be an additional 120 gold. So it's 110 for each of the first 3, and then the 4th, the price goes up by 10. Because she's having to use a higher level spell slot to...
I'm like, I know I'm going to probably figure out that crystal pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and have her try to figure out the armbands and the eye patch. We never did figure out what they were. We just knew they were magical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have her do the armbands and the eye patch.
Okay, give me 1 second to find... Where did I... No, those are his spells, not his items. I need his items. Okay, so you hand them over and you do pay, correct?
Correct.
The armbands are... They are called armbands of elusive action. And they allow... an armband of elusive action... Sorry, an armband of elusive action allows you to protect yourselves from the hazards of battlefield chaos. When it is activated, the band allows you to avoid provoking a single attack of opportunity that your actions would otherwise incur. It functions once per day. And it is an immediate action, which means you can choose to activate it on another character's turn. So you don't have to activate it and then move. You can just, if someone tries to take an attack of opportunity against you, you can just say, I activate it, and then they don't get that attack.
That's pretty helpful.
Yeah. Now, this eye patch, oh, this is some dark magic. This is a Blighter's Hex Eye. And when you activate this, your melee attacks against elves and creatures of the plant type deal an extra significant amount of damage. And the effects, it lasts for 1 round. It can be used 3 times a day, but it cannot be activated in consecutive rounds. So it does an extra 2d6 points of damage against elves or plant creatures. There's some lore to it, but the Identify spell does not give that. This is actually something, if any of you had shown this to Shinaru, he would have been able to identify it, but he was never in the room when you had it out.
Okay. What was it, the eye patch called again?
Blighter's Hex Eye. I will paste it into the chat.
Blighter.
And I'm sorry, what was the 3rd item that you were trying to identify?
I was only going to do the 2.
Oh, just the 2? Okay.
I was thinking about the armor, but it's large.
No, it's not. No, it's medium size.
Oh.
You have not... The only thing that you fought that was large was the cloud monster.
Let's do the armor as well.
Okay, so that's an additional 110 gold. And you identify this as... I need to go to his AC. This is a magic set of armor. It is a +1 breastplate. Yes, it's so amazing it's shocked you into silence.
Thank you kindly. Here's your gold. Let's do our business.
Come back anytime, except next Tuesday. You're going to want to avoid being outside in the rain. She pats your hand as you walk away.
Oh my god, is her name Madame Trelawney?
You don't know. You didn't ask.
Okay, Sarge turns to her like, your family name wouldn't happen to be Trelawney, would it?
No, it's Lovecraft.
Good to know. Have a good day, man. Next Tuesday, right?
Well, it's most likely to rain on Tuesday, but really, anytime there's water involved, you might not want to deal with it.
Give myself an umbrella. He walks out.
All right. Do you guys head back to the inn and wait for Jamal, or do you just? Is there anything else any of you are wanting to try to find or do?
Just like, how much time did we waste me with my roll of 5?
With your roll of 5, you wasted about an hour, and I want to say you wasted. It was 6. So it was 6:30 after the guardhouse. Probably about 30 minutes at the first shop brings it to 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's about 10:30, 10:40.
Let's put plenty of time to get back to the very inn and get something to eat while we wait for Jamal.
Yeah. All right. You get something to eat. You order. You pay. It costs about a gold total, so any one of you can pay that. No, Lord Thatcher will pay it because he's that kind of guy. Eventually, Jamal shows up.
We did the little reverse head nod thing. So, nod.
So, yes, you follow him to sewers. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all I needed.
Wait.
Go ahead.
You go make sure, first of all, you need to make sure you have your freaking melee weapon on you.
He has some arrows.
Have we gone up and made sure we have all our weaponry before we go down to these sewers?
Yeah. Okay. I assumed as much.
I just want to be in a situation where it's we don't get all our weaponry.
Yeah.
Right?
No, unless you're telling me that you do not have it on you, I generally assume you have most stuff on you.
Alright, because I do want to go up and just check on our rooms and make sure, when we go up there, and just make sure everything's still secure.
Yeah, you do a once over, and nothing seems out of place. None of the windows seems to have been open. None of the drawers seem to have been rifled through. Your stash of magazines that Ethel gave you are still under your pillow where you left them.
Excellent.
Okay, so the sewer smell, the sloshing of liquid, is loud and unsettling to those of you with a more reputable upbringing. Jamal leads you quickly through a short passage, lantern in one hand, held out before him. You come upon a door, and the halfling sets the lantern down, folds up and rolls up some thick sheets of parchment that he's been using as a map, stowing them away. Digging into his pockets, he pulls out a thick brass key, unlocks the heavy wooden door in front of you, retrieves the lantern, and pushes the door open, revealing... So, the illumination is shadowy, it's inefficient, and it's just enough to mess with your dark vision, Sarge, and yours, Ravi. But Shinaru, because you have low light vision, which excels in this kind of situation, you are able to just see fantastically perfect. The floor, it's broken. Chunks of the ceiling are lying all about, and a light green moss is growing everywhere. Near the corner, there seems to be a pile of rubble that looks out of place. And Jamal says, this entire room isn't on any blueprints. And behind those boulders is some sort of tunnel. We just need you to investigate, find out where it leads. If we're lucky, we might be able to use it as some kind of evacuation point. And if we're unlucky, well, we can properly collapse the tunnel and seal it before any kind of shambling undead finds its way into the sewers from the outside.
Alright then.
You coming with us, Jamal?
No, I'm going to be staying here. That's all he says. He just is like, no, I'm not. He does. I do not have. I'm a scholar and a gentleman. I do not do labor.
Both are questionable, but alright. Thatcher's coming with us, though, right?
Yes, he has volunteered, and in fact has already started working at pulling some boulders and rubble out of the way to expose the tunnel.
Muscles, this seems like a job for you.
Yeah, pretty much kind of goes up back next to us. That first doing the same thing, pretty much.
Yeah, if Sarge is helping out, okay. Shinaru, Sarge, both of you please be doing the rolling of a strength check.
20.
20? 16? Okay, so Sarge and Shinaru, you end up doing the bulk of the work. Thatcher is trying to help. He's very, like, gung-ho. He's very wanting to help, but he's slow, and he's young, so he's not helping too much. You guys do manage to clear the rubble. You move the last of the rubble out of the way, revealing a long, low tunnel that breaches through the stone wall and the clay and dirt beyond. This tunnel stretches far beyond your field of sight. Let me reveal it, and then I will ask the question. Reveal. What would you like to be doing?
My vote is Thatcher and Sarge lead the way.
I agree with that. Just got one check one thing. I haven't looked at my survival pouch in a second, so hold on.
Okay. You do have it with you.
Okay. I was just seeing if I had. I can do. Does anybody have any way of lighting this thing?
Jamal does offer to let you take the lantern.
I'm sorry. To do a what?
Take the lantern that he has.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. I was gonna say because I don't have anything for light sources, but we have dark vision. But I think Thatcher is blind, and this one only has low light.
Which means he would also be blind without a light source.
Yeah. So those two would be blind.
Yeah, it's definitely take the lantern if in a pinch. I do have other means of illumination, but it would be sketchy.
Okay.
The lantern would be safer.
Okay, we'll take the lantern then, and then either you or Thatcher hold it and lead the way, and then I'll follow behind you two.
Yeah, I'll have him get a lantern to, I would say Thatcher or Muscle should have it since their vision ain't the best, so.
Yeah.
Alright, so which one are you deciding to give it to? That way I can...
Let's give it to Thatcher.
Because he's leading.
He's leading.
Oh, is he leading? Okay.
Oh, no. Well, I guess Sarge should lead first. Sarge will lead first.
Okay.
And then the follow behind Thatcher.
And then me, and then Muscle's bringing up the rear with him.
Is that light source going to be enough for Muscles to see? Or is it
Give me 1 second. Can you guys... No, it's not showing it. Sorry, I'm doing that aura thing. No, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So,
Yeah, we're seeing it.
the darker circle, everything within the darker circle is considered normal illumination. Everything within the brighter circle, the green one, is considered shadowy illumination.
We're only seeing red.
Ooh, you should be seeing both. Oh, no, okay. How about now?
There we go, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do keep in mind that there would be, like, if a wall is in the way, then no, you do not have illumination at that point. But if you have, like, a straight line to something, you get red is normal, just basically it's like you're outside in the day, and the green is shadowy illumination, so you might have some disadvantage with combat-related things.
Okay.
Although, technically, Shinaru is capable of seeing an additional 15 feet further outside of that green because of his low light vision.
Okay.
Alright, can we take a break for just a second? We just are foods here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's been about, like, almost 2 hours, so if you want to do an intermission, if any of you need to do your, bathroom break, get some food, stuff like that, now would be a fantastic time.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Alright, we are recording again. So, you find yourselves confronted with a large, heavy wooden door set in old, weathered slabs of granite. You, Sarge, recognize this immediately as a different stone than what the sewers behind you are constructed of. I would like everybody to make spot checks. Although Shinaru and Ravi, yours will be at a -2. Unless you want to get closer as you look at this door.
Minus 2.
Where's the other mouse?
Oh, wow. 19 plus 5. 24 for Sarge.
Okay.
What do you do? It's off. 11 for Robbie.
Okay.
21 for Shinaru.
Okay. Shinaru and Sarge, you notice a number of shallow etchings, what appear to be various types of arcane symbols carved into the stone. Now that you've noticed them, now that some of you begin focusing on them, they begin glowing with a faint silver light. The door itself does not appear to be locked. In fact, it seems like there's nothing preventing you from just pushing the door open. How would you like to proceed?
Doesn't appear to be locked. So there's runes that they're glowing light?
Yeah, they're glowing faintly silver.
Anybody recognize the language?
What languages do you speak, Ravi?
Common and Celestial.
What languages do you speak, Sarge?
Other than Common, Dwarven, and Gnome.
What languages do you speak, Shinaru?
Just Elvish and Common.
Okay, let's see what languages Thatcher speaks.
I also have Read Magic, if it's magic.
Well, it could be magic. Go ahead, and anyone who has Knowledge Arcana can go ahead and make a Knowledge Arcana check.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. This one. Sarge does it.
Natural 20, 23 for Robbie.
You recognize these as, generally, these are symbols that would be used in some kind of conjuration magic, something that would be used specifically for summoning. They remind you very much of what you saw some of the clerics at your monastery, the hand motions and the symbols they would trace in the air to use Summon Monster 1, the first level spell. These symbols remind you of that. You also are very much aware that silver tends to be tied with summoning magic. Like the color silver, not the metal.
Yeah, it's some sort of summoning spell. I feel like if we open the door, it's gonna summon something.
Any idea what it might be? Good, bad, ugly?
Nope. Probably any combination of those three.
It's good to know. At the end of the day, we either stay here and stare at the pretty lights, or we keep going.
I mean, if you want to open it, be my guest.
Maybe, since you, Sarge, and you, muscular elf man, have ranged weapons, perhaps if you stood back slightly with your bows ready to fire, I could open the door, and if anything did appear, you would have a bit of an advantage in shooting at it.
Can we tell by the hinges if this door is going to open in or open out?
It's going to open in.
Is it a push or pull door?
It's a push door. From your point, you would be pushing it open.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no. No, I lied. It would be a pull door.
So maybe just open it really quickly and
Rip the bandage off?
yeah. I can stand by Thatcher just in case. Or should I stand back with you guys? Or somewhere in the middle.
I prefer a healer of the party to be in the back. No offense.
No, that's fair.
I mean, my armor is pretty strong. I should be able to take a hit or two if it comes to that.
Alright, and I can get to you quickly if I need to. Alright, I'll stand back with you two.
Alright, I pull my crossbow out of my, survival pouch.
Composite short bow.
Crossbow. God.
Close. One of them is actually a decent weapon. One of them is a terrible weapon. If you really want a crossbow, I'll let you have it.
No, it's mine. Oh, I'll take my composite bow. Get it ready.
He's going to switch you places.
Yeah.
Shinaru, do you ready your bow and knock an arrow, or?
Yeah, I'll go and knock an arrow. Skip back a little. Just be like a step away like that.
Okay. Yeah, Shinaru and Sarge, you both have line of sight to the door, so you're good.
Do I have line of sight, or should I scoot up like right there?
You had line of sight to Thatchered. You could partially see the door, but you also don't have any ranged weapons. So, assuming that this summons some kind of creature into this area, you would not be able to attack it from where you are. But you already knew that.
That's fine. I just want to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, you can
Quick
get a...
Quick suggestion.
Yeah?
Blondie, why don't you take the lantern from the boy there? From the boy there, so he's got a weapon ready to hand just in case something does come out at him, and then you're back there and you've got the lantern illuminating whatever's going on.
Sounds good. I'll take the lantern from Patrick.
Okay, I am in the process of giving you the lantern. Did that show up for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. You now have lantern. Thatchered has...
There we go.
There we go. Thatchered has his bastard sword in one hand. He does have to set his tower shield down in order to have something available to pull the door open. So he is without his tower shield. He reaches out. He pulls the door open, revealing... let me do a quick... Well, it would only be to about there because of lighting, so... the passage... The door opens, and the passage beyond seems old, unused for decades, possibly longer. You take note of the stale air, of the faint, musty scent about you. That seems to waft out. Nothing seems to happen. Thatchered inches closer just a bit. Picking up his tower shield, nothing seems to happen.
I'm trying to keep an eye on the sigils around the door, see if anything happens.
The same, they're glowing silver. They're not flickering, they're not dimming, they're not any brighter. They're the same. Thatcher takes a deep breath, takes a step in. No change to the sigils. No, he doesn't seem to be freaking out or anything. You are beginning to lose sight on him, Ravi. The rest of you can still see him pretty well. Do you begin Do you begin following?
Yes.
Okay, you guys have control over yourselves and over the cat. Okay. And the cat, I'm just going to have off to the side, even if he's like in a wall or something, it's to symbolize that he's near Shinaru.
Yeah.
So, Thatcher goes ahead and steps forward, and with the new lighting, if you guys would reposition yourself, I will then reveal some area. I do need all of you to roll spot checks now that you are actually within the tunnel.
That's not a 20. That is.
Nine! No, wait. I lied. Spot check. Spot check. 11.
17.
That's not too bad.
27.
27. Oh, that's not too bad. Well, Thatcher got an actual 20. Alright, so Shinaru, Ravi, and Thatcher, you spot a number of holes that seem to, that at seemingly sporadic intervals along the walls and the ceiling. Some of these holes are only about the size of Ravi's finger, while others are large enough for Sarge to stick his entire head into. There are piles of dirt that have collected on the ground underneath each of these breaches. It's really the only thing that stands out in this tunnel.
Should I, hold the lantern up to a couple of the bigger ones and try and see what's in them?
A couple of the ones on the wall, yeah, there's some at, about shoulder and about face level that you find. You hold the lantern up, and it's just a tunnel that stretches into the wall. It's the one you're looking at is probably about as wide as your fist, so you could stick your hand into it up to your shoulder, but it goes back as far as you can see, and then eventually the lantern light isn't enough for you to see any further. Or perhaps the tunnel is curving in a direction and you're just not quite able to see that it's doing that.
Do I have any idea, like, what would make these?
You don't, but I believe Shinaru can make a knowledge nature check if he has it, or anyone who has knowledge nature can make a knowledge nature check.
Oh, I have knowledge nature.
Well, then yes, you could make a knowledge nature check.
I do not.
16.
DM, would my dungeoneering or architecture at this point?
Dungeoneering would work. Yes, I would allow you to make a dungeoneering check at the same difficulty.
Snarr got 5, by the way.
He don't know shit.
Yeah. I got 7.
You are aware that there are things called holes, and these appear to be those.
Yep, they're holes.
That's all you two know.
Seems legit. Ravi, you are aware that there are a number of burrowing creatures that could make these. Some of these, they all seem pretty old. You don't really have any, there's no real sign of indication as to what might have caused it. But these do seem like something that in some cases various bugs could crawl through, or small burrowing rodents could move through. So you're in, because of where you are, it's safe to assume it's probably some kind of rodent or worm or snake or gopher.
Okay.
Can we tell what kind of, like, if this is like a natural made tunnel, or...
Okay, so the tunnels in the wall seem to be naturally made by some kind of animal. The passage you're actually in right now is very clearly man-made. It has slabs of stone. There is actual work put into the carving of the walls and of the ceilings. There's some vaulted ceilingry. I don't think that's how that word is pronounced, or I don't think that is a real word, but I think you get the point. And I just realized you can't see me doing the hand motions of the vaulted ceiling, so I don't know why I still am. But yeah, the actual passage that you are walking through right now is very clearly man-made. The holes throughout the ceiling and the wall seem to have been created later by probably some kind of animal, based off of what Ravi has been muttering to herself.
Can we, other the tunnels that are going off the main passageway, are they dug through stone, or are they dug where it kind of goes into loose dirt?
They're dug where it goes into loose dirt.
Okay, because I'd be a little nervous about a mole that could go through stone.
That's what I was just thinking too. I was like, okay. So.
There's a few places where a slab of the ceiling has fallen loose with age, and underneath it something eventually burrowed through. But where there is actual still stone or quote unquote concrete or building materials, none of that has been breached. Okay. Do you all continue forward?
Yeah.
Well, and that's already revealed, so I should probably go back to the right tool. Okay. You get to here, and you approach what at first you thought was an intersection of some kind. And looking to the left and right, and this is only true of Thatchered and Sarge, because you would be the only one capable of seeing it, you see two dead ends reaching about 7 to 8 feet back, and each end has a small, empty alcove set high into the wall.
There's nothing in the alcoves?
The alcoves are empty, as far as Sarge and Shinaru can see. Or sorry, as far as Sarge and Thatchered can see.
Are they, do they look kind of disused like dust, or do they look like maybe something's been...
You can approach and investigate if you would like.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move yourself to which one you are investigating. Shinaru or Ravi, do you move up to take his place as he begins walking?
I'll probably stay back at the moment and just kind of keep my arrow knocked.
I'll move forward, though.
Okay. Sarge, as you step down into the alcove, your foot goes down, and then it goes down a little further than you had wanted it to. And there's a small hissing sound, and 2 spears, one from the left and one from the right, jet out from the walls, attempting to attack and hit your armor class. I'm assuming an 8 misses. Does a 16 misses, correct?
Correct.
So one of them, the mechanisms on one of them is just, it's so old and rusted and worn out that it doesn't really have much force. And this wooden spear seems to have been infested with termites at some point. It hits your armor, and the shaft of the spear just kind of splinters and crumbles, and it falls away. The second spear is in much the same state of decay, and it's just not able to, it just doesn't have enough force and doesn't have enough integrity to actually pierce through your armor. So this spear trap has been triggered and has been completely ineffectual.
Quick question. Would that be considered a ranged attack?
No, it would have been considered a melee attack.
Damn it, I would have gotten +5 if it was a ranged attack.
Possibly.
Alright, just curious. I'm just curious on the mechanics of that trap.
Yeah, no, it was because the wall is about, you have maybe less than a foot of space between your shoulder and the wall, so yeah, no, it's, that being said, go ahead and roll your search check, since you were wanting to do the searching of the alcove, to see if there was anything interesting about it.
But just as an aside, Sarge gets hit with, it kind of like startles everybody, and it's just like, huh. See, kid, that's why you oil your armor and keep everything in place. Shit like this just rusts.
Lord Thatcher, he nods, like, yes, this is a good life lesson. I have learned so much. This is money well spent.
Alright, search check coming up. 10 total.
Yeah, it just appears to be an empty alcove. There is dust on it. You're not sure if perhaps at some point in time it did house something that was moved. That is a possibility, but it would have been so long ago that there's just dust, and as much dust as can be on dirt. I don't know if dust actually settles on dirt.
I mean, it's like if anything looked like it had disturbed, or there had something kind of pulled off the wall, or
not if there had been, it would not have been recently enough for you to notice it.
Okay.
Yeah. But immediately in front of Lord Thatcher, you all suddenly see a strange fracturing of space. What looks like a silvery distortion, a kaleidoscope of broken glass, and in the moment it takes you all to register this phenomenon, it's already collapsed in on itself, shifting into a long, wriggling form of a hundred-legged monstrosity, mandibles reaching out to bite. Because Lord Thatcher is directly in front of him, let me pull the picture up first, and then it is attacking the kid. With a 5 plus... No, that misses. But I do need, that is the end of the surprise round, I need everyone to be rolling the initiative.
That thing looks ugly, by the way.
Yes, I actually took some time to find a picture that I felt would properly... I put some effort into this picture. Okay, 25 to 20?
Hold on, Shinoda's got to roll still. Definitely not. No, I think I'm the highest.
What you get?
18.
8. Alright, Rav... No, there's an H in there. Shit. Ravi, real quick, how do you spell your name?
Rhabi.
Elodi.
18. Shinaru, what did you roll?
12.
12, okay, not bad.
Thatcher.
No, Nibs goes on your turn.
Oh shit, I do have to roll for Thatcher. 1 second. Shinaru. I have to pull his character sheet back up.
That's right.
It has to load. Stats. Initiative. Yeah.
I just leave it like that for now.
Oh, he rolled a natural 19.
Wow, nice! Shit!
He has +0, so that just ruins all the writing I was just doing. Okay, so Thatcher goes first. Attempts to... Let me see if it'll let me do an attack roll. Attempts to slash at the creature with his bastard sword. Hits. And you see a... why am I on the wrong layer? I don't want to be on the map layer. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Hits. There is a spray of like guts and bug blood, and a few of the legs of the creature get sliced off, and there's a small splatter of centipede meat that hits your face, Sarge. But the thing is still alive, and that does bring it to Ravi or Sarge. Which one of you would like to be going the first?
Sarge can go first.
I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go ahead and go with. What do you call it? I probably not my updated thing yet.
Oh, that's where the mouse is.
So I have. Oh yeah, I'm going with the great axe. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and swing at it with the great axe.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack.
14.
Ooh, 14 just barely misses.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, I should say, because of the walls immediately to your either side of you, Sarge, it is considered to have partial cover.
Okay.
Which that is the only reason that this attack missed.
Okay.
But you do still have movement if you would like to try to take it. Elsewise, it would be Ravi's turn.
No, I'm good.
Okay, that brings it to Ravi.
I know.
You could move up and maybe get some more training with your Logitech.
My only thing is I don't want to step here and activate another trap.
Well, I mean, so far as you can tell, there are no traps there.
Ooh, do you have an actual staff?
No, it's a Logitech. It's kind of like a staff, but it doesn't reach the 10 feet.
I was gonna say, dude, it would have been nice if you just tap on that thing and just, stop the trap.
If she were out of combat, she could attempt to... Well, I mean, no, she could use her action to try and attack the stone floor, and if there was a trap and she rolled high enough, it could potentially trigger it, but it would be her action.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that, actually.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack.
This is +0, because... Yeah, 13!
You do successfully hit the stone floor. You do not seem to hit any kind of pressure plate. Oddly enough, a stone floor has a very low armor class, so it is very easy to hit.
Is it prone?
Yes. The floor is considered prone, and the floor is considered helpless, which means you can coup de grace it.
I'm just gonna stay where I am.
Okay. That brings it to Shinaru.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a 5 step back. And then I'll go ahead and do my rabbit shot, which I believe is 2 shots minus 2, I think.
Yeah, sure, that sounds right.
We'll go with that one.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now just to double check. Because I do think that actually is correct.
I'll do +6 instead. First was a natural 20. Second one is an 18 plus, so 26 total.
Okay. Now keep in mind, you have point blank shot, so anything within 30 feet you get an additional +2 against.
Oh, that's right.
So then it counters at -2.
Okay.
But yes, both hit. So as you pull out an arrow and nock it, you step back, keeping your eyes locked on the creature. You let it loose. Natural 20s always hit. I do believe that is a potential for a critical. So if you would roll again to see if you crit.
Please confirm the crit. 15.
15.
Actually, plus 2. Yeah, 15, right?
15. All you have to do to confirm the crit is beat its armor class, and 15 beats his armor class. So you did crit with that first hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
This is for the crit hit.
This is for the crit hit.
So that'd be total of. Do I double it?
You double the dice roll.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I believe for you that means it would be 2d6 plus 1. No, 2d6 plus 3.
2d8.
2d8 plus 3.
10 total.
Yeah, well, he had 1 hit point, so your arrow slams into the creature, and there's a really, strange, echoey, hollow slurping sound as the creature begins to collapse in on itself and then is gone. That only used one of your attacks. As you pull out the second arrow and get ready to fire it, you end up relaxing just a scoosh, not wasting the arrow, and that will have counted as only a normal standard attack. Unless you want to fire at the wall, which you are more than welcome to.
Stupid wall.
I wouldn't waste the arrow.
No, I'm quite alright.
Or technically, I think your total was on that second attack was what, like a 17 or an 18 or a 20? You could hit Ravi if you wanted to.
It was a 26, so yes, he could hit me.
You could hit literally anyone. Does Nim do anything, or is Nim still around your back?
She's around my back at the moment.
Or shoulders and neck. Sorry. Does that end your turn?
That does.
All right, Sarge. You notice along the wall directly in front of you, there's another one of those fracturing patterns that forms just for a split second. Before, clinging to the wall itself, curving up the wall, as though it's climbing, is another one of these centipede-like creatures that reaches out with its gaping mandibles, attempting to bite you, and I'm assuming 4 misses.
You assume correct.
Fantastic! That does bring it to Lord Thatcher's turn, and Lord Thatcher cannot do anything from his position. He's going to take a 5-foot step forward, freeing up this middle space for anyone who might need it, and that brings it to Sarge.
Swinging at it with the great axe.
Fantastic!
Natural 17 with plus 9 would be 26.
Oh, I don't know if that hits.
Really, 26?
Go ahead and roll damage.
Jesus Christ. It's like, you don't know what a 26 hit. That's insane. Okay.
I told you, I thought you guys were level 18.
Oh, Jesus. So, I get... Alright, so I've got 6 damage.
Okay. You hack into this creature, and unlike the last one, where some guts and some bile and some centipede meat kind of sprayed all over the place, yours, you just hear a sickening crunch, and there is now a stain on the wall behind the creature, and your axe just carves through it into the stone itself. It is still alive. It looks very unhappy and very unhealthy.
Did I notice any reaction from...
Actually, the crystal does activate. Make a spot check.
11?
You do notice... You're not sure if it's a trick of the light or if it's a trick of your imagination, but it does seem almost like the actual area that your axe impacted seems to have left a little bit of... It just seems wetter. But with this particular creature, it isn't enough. It's something where you would have to investigate further after the creature was dead, and based on the previous creature, disappearing after they died, you think you might need to find a different creature to potentially test it on.
Okay.
It does look a little bit more hurt than you would think it would, though.
Got it.
It brings it to Robbie.
Alright, I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm gonna take a 5-foot step to this corner.
Okay. That I'm going to need... Does 16 hit your armor class?
Oh, just barely.
So 22 also hits.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to look up. You take, as both spears pierce into you, cutting, slicing into your skin, not too deep, but enough. You take a total of 6 points of damage,
Okay.
and I need you to make 2 fortitude saves while I look up what the DC is.
My fortitude's decent.
Oh, actually, important point of note, as long as you are within 30 feet of... as long as you're within 60 feet of Lord Thatchard and are capable of hearing him, he has a minor aura that gives everyone a +3 to fortitude saves.
Oh, cool.
So he looks at you as you get cut, and he's like, yo, just brush it off, you got this. And that just motivates you to be 3 higher than you otherwise would.
Well, the first one's a natural 20,
That automatically succeeds.
and the second one's a 13.
Total, even with all the bonuses?
Yep. I rolled a 3.
Oh.
Plus 10 is 13.
Okay. I need to find where is
You said I took 6 points damage, right?
6 points of piercing damage.
Yeah.
From the spears themselves, and then the poison tipped on the second spear does an additional. You take 3 points of dexterity damage.
Oh.
Oh no. So I'm at 13 for my dexterity.
And that would also drop your armor class down to 14, I believe.
Oh, because you're based on things.
Yeah, partially.
So your fire goes down to 1, so your armor class goes down to temporarily down to 14.
Yeah.
You do still have an action if you would like to take it.
I have to look.
You have a couple things, yes.
Lesser restoration would cure that dexterity, wouldn't it?
I believe it would cure 1d6 points of ability score damage. Yes. I am pulling it up right now just to double check because that is something you would know. So that's something that I'm not going to have you do, and then we find out that it doesn't work that way.
Right. If it does, then that's what I want to do.
Okay. No, I'm pretty sure because remember, I was waiting for Sidon to use that on you after you took that wisdom damage, and it just never happened.
Theory.
Yeah. Lesser restoration starts with an L. What level spell is it?
It's a second level.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking in the wrong spot then. Okay. Restoration. Lesser. Lesser restoration dispels any magical effect reducing one of the subject's ability scores or cures 1d4 points of temporary ability damage to one of the subject's ability scores. It also eliminates fatigue suffered by the creature and improves the exhaust condition. So yes, it would heal 1d4 points of temporary ability damage.
Alright, I'm gonna do that then for myself.
Okay. So roll a d4.
Do I roll it? Okay, I was gonna say, do I roll or you roll?
No, I can roll if you want me to.
No, I'm good. I rolled a 4, so...
Okay. Yeah, so you are back up to normal. You have used 1 second level spell.
That's fine.
And that brings it to Shinaru. So currently, you've seen the back end of Sarge's great axe out of the corner of your eye, and then you've heard a crunching sound off to your right, and then you've seen Ravi move to the left, disappear mostly from your field of view. You heard a small hissing sound, and then you heard her like, "Ow, ow, shit!" and then you heard her mutter a few words as she healed herself.
Okay. I'll go ahead and walk up to the rest, basically right behind.
Or you can move to.
I'm gonna go diagonally.
Tiny. Let's see.
Oh, you're
Now, this
medium.
creature, do I see? I'm assuming I see the creature on the right.
Yeah, you absolutely see it as soon as you step into that middle square. It cuts our internet out, and there was no reason for them to because they know I'm playing, but they were anyways. So I heard that you were moving up to the middle square. I heard you ask if you could see, and then I don't know how much of what I was saying you heard.
Yeah, I didn't know what I saw.
Yeah, so
Because he saw the
as soon as you step into the middle square, right here, you immediately notice the human-sized, 100-legged creature on the wall, kind of bits and pieces of it hacked off, trying to bite at Sarge.
Now, I'm assuming, I don't know what this, like, this doesn't, I don't recognize this type of creature.
You might. I believe, you can go ahead and roll a, oh, no, you would not recognize this particular type of creature. It looks very similar to a centipede, to a, what you have come to be known as a monstrous centipede, but this particular one, and the last one that you saw, it seems to have a few qualities that seem just a little off. It seems to be a little more angular than you would expect. It seems to have a lot more like dark blood red coloration to it than would be normal for a creature that was trying to hide. And it does seem to have horns jagging out of it at random intervals. It seems very fiendish in its appearance. Which actually, with your earlier Knowledge Arcana check, Ravi, you would recognize this as a fiendish, monstrous centipede, which you know is something that can be summoned by a summon monster spell, which clerics and wizards of very low level are capable of doing.
cool.
That's probably what something in the doors. Probably. Alright, well, I guess I'll go ahead and make an attack on it with my long pilot bow. This would not be considered that. That's just so it should be 15 total.
And that's with the +2 from your point blank shot?
Oh, shoot, that's right. Let's see.
I'll remind you for a little bit. Eventually it will be your responsibility, but because you are still new, I still got your back, fam.
Alright. Yeah, 17 total.
So, I don't know if that... Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll the damage. The damages.
So 4 total.
Oh, yeah, that's one more than you needed. Again, your arrow hits it, and where your arrow impacts, the entire creature seems to begin to, like, collapse in on itself, almost like a hollow egg that's just being crushed beneath a hand. And there's another weird, hollow slurping sound, and the creature is gone. Is there anything else you or Nim would like to be doing on this round before you end your turn?
I'm not. No, there's nothing really I can do at this moment. I'll just go ahead and.
That's what you get for messing with the Armstrong family. I was waiting for it.
That's how the Armstrong family handles those centipedes.
No, it wasn't part of my fucking backseat. No, that's right.
So as you say that, and as you begin flexing, out of the corner of your eye, you happen to see the door area where you guys had come in, and there's a shifting that catches your attention, and you notice these thick strands of reddish goop falling from along the door frame, and piling up into a blob where in the door where you guys had come through. And it's this coalescence, a mound of reddish shifting protoplasm with a number of strange silvery symbols floating through it. And with that being the end of your turn, Ravi, right behind you, there's another fracturing. The symbols within the ooze, Shinaru, you notice, stop glowing as yet another fiendish monster centipede appears and attacks at Ravi. Does 8 hit?
No.
And it misses, but this weird reddish begins slithering and crawling and pulling itself forward almost like a slug. Coming forward 20 feet. Stopping. And the runes and symbols throughout its body, floating in its body, not on its body, but actually within the oozy plasm, begin again glowing faintly with silver energy. That brings it to Sarge's turn. Sarge, you do not see this yet unless Shinaru has made some kind of indication to get your or Ravi's attention.
Have you made any indication to get my attention?
Oh yeah, so there's a red ooze going toward us you guys see these, the runes in it?
Ooze
Ravi?
like jello or ooze like a creature?
Both?
Well, shit!
Do we eat it? Do we fight it? I don't know.
Now, Ravi, you are a little distracted with the big creepy crawly bug trying to eat you.
Do I see it too?
Yeah, you can kind of peek around now that he's indicated that it's there. It is.
I see the creepy crawly on the wall too.
Oh yeah, you see that, no problem.
Jeez.
Do you wanna throw your axe at it?
God, I'm just sitting here going, God, somebody needs to get a freaking fly swatter. A roll of newspaper. Creatures are everywhere. I don't have line of sight of ooze, but God, I can't really do much with that creepy crawly. I still have my plasma out. Would I have to take an action to notch it and get it and shoot an arrow?
You, as a free action, you can drop your great axe, and then as a move action, you can basically get and arm your composite bow.
And then I can go ahead and take a shot at the
Yes.
ick.
Yeah. Your great axe would be on the ground. The reason I'm saying it like this now is because in the future, I will just be saying, yes, you can do that, and it'll be your job to remember that you're having to drop the great axe, which means it'll be your job to remember that you're having to pick it up after combat.
Will that still be a, if I wanted to... Okay, but can I pick it up as a free action as well?
No, picking it up...
Down right next to me?
You are dropping it, so in order to pick it up, it will take a move action to do.
Okay. Alright. I'm going to still go ahead and do that.
Okay. Well, also, do keep in mind that because you are firing into melee, and you do not have the precise shot feat, you will be taking a penalty that I am looking up right now.
Okay.
I believe it's -2.
I don't remember.
Oh, production.
I think it's 2.
Might be 2.
I don't know. I think after 30 feet.
No, firing into melee is a -4 on your attack roll.
Okay. Yeah. Alright, so that would be 16 minus 4 is 12.
That just more than barely misses. You take aim, and Ravi is she's dodging out of the way, and it just messes up your precision just enough that you try to compensate, and you overcompensate, and the arrow flies past, hitting the wall next to the centipede.
Okay.
That is everything you can do, because you had to move action and standard action to drop to pull out your bow and then attack. That brings it to Ravi's turn.
Alright. I'm gonna try and swing at the creepy crawly in front of me with my Lajitang.
Yeah, sure, you can certainly try.
Nope. I rolled a 3. I have no modifier.
That is the missing. That brings it to that brings it to Shinaru.
I'm gonna go and try and knock my arrow. Are the ruins still growing and glowing on it?
They are glowing, yes. And they've been growing progressively brighter as it approaches the ooze's turn.
I'll go ahead and do
Right.
a rapid shot. Just 2 attacks.
Grab my phone.
Still at 11. Which is 30 feet. So 15 for the first one. And 28 for the second one.
The second one hits.
Max damage, so a total of 11.
11, alright. Not too shabby. Let me adjust its health. Alright. Moose, you do still have movement if you would like to try to take it. And Nim still has all of her actions if she wants to do anything. He wants to do anything. Whatever the cat is.
Let's see. How big is the opening with Ravi?
The opening with Ravi, so she's taking up a majority of the opening. There's about a foot to 2 feet of space between her and the wall. And the only reason that the centipede is able to occupy that space is because it is actually on climbing the wall. Because it has a climb speed.
Okay, so Nim wouldn't be able to fit in that little space with Ravi.
No, they are both considered, Ravi and Nim are both considered medium-sized creatures. They cannot occupy the same space in combat.
So yeah, at this point she'll just go ahead and stay where she is. Can I move behind Thatcher, or is there not enough space to get past him?
It would cost a double movement to move past him, so it would take you 15 feet to get to right here, but you have enough movement to do that if you wanted to.
I'll go ahead and do that.
And that brings it to the Ooze's town. The glowing silver-colored runes throughout its body stop shining as another of these centipedes appears behind you, Shinaru, with the ooze no longer, with the symbols no longer glowing. Shinaru and Thatcher both notice that the area where you had shot your arrow, it had left a bit of a hole just straight through the ooze. That tendrils of slimy protoplasm are beginning to form up and connect with one another, sealing up that hole that your arrow had caused. It does seem to be some kind of self-healing. You don't know how much, and it's not fully healed, but it has managed to heal itself somewhat. It moves forward slowly and takes an attack. And
That was pretty goddamn fast for ooze.
it was 15 feet, so that was almost all of its movement. And you do not get an attack of opportunity because it has full cover until it gets to that metal square because of the walls on either side of you and Ravi. It does take an attack against Lord Thatcher with a natural 20 hits because that always hits. 4, 5, 6. Thatcher takes 6 points of various damages.
Various.
And that brings it to the centipede's turn, which is attacking Ravi. And it does get a flanking bone. Say again?
I said, don't hit me.
19?
Yep.
And it is... You take... Oh, that was a high roll. You take 6 points of damage, and I need you to make a fortitude save.
Again?
Centipedes are poisonous, man.
Fuck them. Well, it's still plus 10. 20 total?
Yeah, this was a lot easier. You are actually at...
I'm at 28.
Yes. 28. Yeah, you shrug the poison off, no problem. Shinaru does 12 hit your... No, it doesn't. You have like a 21. And that brings it to... you do notice that this time the runes are no longer glowing, and they do not start glowing again. That brings it to Sarge's turn.
Alright, so it's my action to pull out a melee weapon, and that would give it an attack of opportunity, yeah?
No. It would be a free action to drop your composite bow, and then a move action to either pick up your great axe or pull out your Urgosh. If you're picking up your great axe, that would provoke an attack of opportunity. If you're pulling out your Urgosh, that would not.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my bow, pull up my Urgosh, and then go ahead and do a
You cannot do a full attack because you just use movement to pull it out.
Right, but I can do partial attack?
Yes.
Or
Plus 9.
so plus 9?
And actually, you get a flanking bonus because I'm on the other side of the ooze.
That is correct. So it would be plus...
11.
Yep.
Plus 11 because it's plus 2 to my attack.
Yep.
Oh shit, that's gonna need that. 19?
19, a little bit more than barely hits.
Oh, nice.
11.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Very good. You slash at it. Is it? Yeah, it's slashing for the... Okay. You cut through it and you just leave this massive gashing wound. You said 11, correct?
Correct.
There's
Does this
this...
activate the True Death Crystal?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Oozes are not undead. And with your knowledge dungeoneering check, and the information I sent you prior to the campaign starting, Sarge would not expect the True Death Crystal to be activated.
Okay.
Yeah. He knows enough basic information about oozes with your knowledge dungeoneering check that you were pretty certain that it wouldn't happen. That does... I actually lied. I skipped Thatcher. He was supposed to go before you, so he's going to go now.
Come on, Thatcher.
Do it.
He swings with his Masterwork Bastard Sword, trying to hit the ooze. Hitting the ooze and dealing 9 points of slashing damage. Not too bad. Not too bad. And that brings it to Ravi.
I'm debating on whether I want to focus on the bug or the ooze.
Well, you're the only one who can really hit that
Hit that bug. I'm gonna keep trying to hit the bug. I guess.
Go for it, yeah.
You guys seem to be handling this. 16?
Yeah, that hits.
Sweet, I actually hit something. No. Oh, is it that one?
I don't know.
Which one
No.
did you do?
I'm trying to get to my freaking character sheet. There it is. Yay. Okay.
That's a Bluetooth connection against one.
5 whole damage.
Okay. And that's with the +2 from your strength, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I rolled a 3.
It's looking exactly rough. And that brings it... You have movement if you would like to try to do that.
Where through the ooze?
I mean, I could take a 5-foot step, but... Actually, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take a 5-foot step. Because that way Patrick gets the flanking bonus.
Not bad, not bad. That brings it to Shinaru's turn.
Oh, yeah, sure, gets one too now.
Yeah.
Let's see, so I did notice the centipede, but I'm going to keep focusing on the ooze. Now, I'm going to kind of try to aim for the ruins inside the you as well.
You could try, yes. The rune... They would probably have a higher armor class, but as long as you still beat the ooze's armor class, you would still deal damage.
Okay.
You might possibly take a small penalty to damage if you don't beat the rune's armor class. You don't know. You've never tried it before. Just telling you that is a possibility, that you might not deal as much damage as you think you would unless you successfully hit the runes. But you can certainly try, yes.
No, I think I'll just go, I'll see what 2 more arrows do.
Alright. Because that is a ranged attack, That does provoke an attack of opportunity from the centipede behind you. And a natural 1 misses, so continue.
27.
27 for the first one.
Yeah, that hits.
And even higher for the second. He rolled a natural 18.
That hits. So go ahead and roll damage for both.
So we got 11 and 5, so that's a total of 16.
16. Not bad. Not bad. This slimy jelly-like protoplasmic substance is beginning to quiver and shake, and it has 2 holes through it. A third hole that is almost finished sealing up. A giant slash from Sarge. It looks like it's struggling to maintain its shape. Just to confirm, you said 16 damage?
Yeah.
Okay. It is looking like it is having a rough day, a very rough day. You have movement. If no, you don't, because I just lied. Oh no, I guess technically if you wanted to, you could try to get right here. Probably not the best idea, but you're welcome to.
No.
Otherwise,
Maybe flanking, though.
yeah, it would give Sarge flanking. Do you like Sarge enough to give him flanking?
Dude, I have to like slosh views.
Right.
Probably. No, I think I'm gonna remain here.
All right, that brings it to the ooze's turn. So just real quick, I'll go through the centipedes first. 10 misses Shinaru. The centipede, crawling along the wall, reaches to about here, reaches out with its head, and attempts to attack you, Ravi. You do have... So that's a hit, but you are considered to have cover. So go ahead and roll percentiles to see if the attack just automatically misses.
25.
Okay, and that would be... It's on the wall. Partial cover. That is enough. Okay, so yeah, it does hit you. You had it. There was a 20% mischance. 25 is higher than a 1 and is higher than a 20, so... and it rolled a natural 18 to hit. You take 3... You take 4 points of damage, and I need you to make a fortitude save.
God fucking damn it.
Poison, man. It's rough.
19.
Oh, yeah, that's... Yeah, you just need to make a 12. But I did say 4 points of damage, correct?
Yeah, I got it.
So you should be at 24?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Oh, you're taking care of it on roll 20 also?
Yeah, I didn't know where the keyboard was, and then Michelle handed it to me, so
Okay,
I got it.
good. Sounds fantastic. That's both of the centipedes. Again, Sarge, you notice that the giant gash you left in it with its Urgosh, there are small tendrils beginning to form and reach towards each other, almost like it's trying to suture itself closed. It's somewhat successful, but it still doesn't look like it's managed to repair much of the damage, just a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to do a
It's not your turn in the slightest. The ooze has not moved yet. The ooze has not moved yet. No. Nice try, though.
I still want to attack it, though. That doesn't mean I can't.
Well, I mean, diplomacy check to see if the ooze convinces you to run away with it and elope.
How was the DC with that?
Well, you're a dwarf, so you're going to need to roll higher than a 20 to say no.
Oh, wow.
Dwarves like them oozes. It's a fetish.
Fortitude?
No, diplomacy.
Shit. Negative 2 modifier.
And what'd you roll?
17. Oh,
15.
I think that should be a fortitude, man, or a will save.
No. The ooze is trying to convince you to elope. That being said, it does a full attack. The first hit is against Sarge. 10 plus 15 misses Sarge, correct? And the second is against Sarge. And a 24 hits, correct?
That one does hit.
All right, Sarge, you take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as a part of this ooze just kind of like stretches out and bitch slaps you. You also take 6 points of acid damage. So that was a total of 10 points of damage, unless you have any kind of acid resistance.
I'm poison, not acid.
Yeah, so you do not. So yeah, you've taken 10 points of damage total. And that brings it to... Let's see, did I write this down? Ravi, there is a small stream of dirt that spills down over your shoulder, some of it getting in your hair. You look up and you notice one of the holes in the ceiling. You see 3, 4, 7, 8 spindly legs descend out, curve around, and anchor themselves around the outside of this hole. They flex for a moment, pulling a squishy, bulbous body and head out from the depths. Above you is a large, monstrous spider.
Why?
Why does it have to be spiders? Why can't it be follow the butterflies?
Seriously, anything but spiders.
Oh, you guys are not going to have a good time.
Jesus Christ, that thing is fucking huge.
No.
Yeah, it is large size. Now, I am having it off to the side, but it is technically, like, right here. It is above you. Well, I guess, yeah, I can leave it there. It is above you. You and Shinaru are the only people who actually have, like, line of sight to it. It is going to...
Can we roll for you?
11 plus... Sorry, I have to look up its dexterity.
It's got 8 fucking legs.
6. So, does 17 beat your armor class, correct?
Yes.
There is this sudden flash of white, and you just feel this spray of sticky material slam into and around you, and you try to shake it off, and you kind of stumble around a little bit, and it just aids in the wrapping of this webbing around yourself. You are considered entangled
How dare you, Peter?
by webbing. So you take you can on your well, we'll get to it when it's your turn, but as of right now, you are considered entangled by the spider's web that it's just shot at you. That does bring it to Sarge's turn.
Thank you, full attack, please, with the Urd Rush.
Yeah, sure, you can certainly try.
Alright, first one would be 6 plus 7 is 13.
That is a miss.
And then second one is 18 plus 7. 25.
Yeah, sure, that hits.
Okay.
So that's going to be 1d6 plus 1.
2 points of damage.
2 points of damage. You swing wildly, and you're aiming for the same space that you had already cut in. And you figure, with the rate that it's healing itself, you should be able to just cut through that newly healed ooze. But it hasn't quite reached that point, and you just slash through empty air. So you kind of lob your Urgosh up in the air, kind of like a baton, re-grabbing a hold of it and stabbing with the pointy end of it, making yet another hole in this creature, dealing 2 points of damage, and bringing us to Ravi. Your turn. You are... I just lied again. Thatchered hasn't gone.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thatchered. He is flanking, thanks to Ravi. So, he swings with his bastard sword. Hitting for 11 points of damage. The ooze quivers for a moment and then begins to sway back and forth, the color draining from it as it loses its shape, and it looks more and more like a puddle of water and less like gelatin. But Ravi, it is your turn. You are considered entangled, which means you can only move at half speed. You take penalties on your attack roll and to your dexterity, and possibly some other negative benefits. You can attempt to break free with an escape artist check or with a strength check, or you can attempt to attack while entangled.
Can I cast spells?
You can try. Real quick, with the ooze being now dead, the 2 centipedes wink out of existence. You can try. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to concentrate, and it's going to be difficult to get the somatic components off, and you would be provoking an attack of opportunity in doing so.
Would an escape artist check also provoke an attack of opportunity?
No, escape artist checks and strength checks to break free or to wiggle free are you just get them. No attacks of opportunity, but that would be your standard action.
Your escape.
What's my strength? Alright, I'll do an escape artist check.
Okay.
Natural 19, 22.
Yes, you managed to wiggle out and pull off enough of the webbing to be considered no longer entangled. You still have movement if you would like to try it. I'm going to move this back to the GM layer so that it's not...
I'll move back to the factory. I'm sorry.
Alright, so a 5-foot step. That brings it to Shinaru's turn.
Alright, so I saw the spider as well. I'll go ahead and yell, "Thou beast, the Armstrong family will end thee!" And I'll take a point a second. There we go. Armstrong family. They consider within 30 feet?
Oh yeah, no, it's only
20?
it's only like 15. It's 15 to 20 feet because it is up on the ceiling. But yeah, it's within.
So, first one is an 18. Second one is a 8 plus 11 is 19. 19, there we go.
They both hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
I got 6 and 9 is 15.
15. Nice. It's looking rough. And that brings it to its turn. Ravi does 20 hits. Ravi, you take 5 points of damage, and I need you to make a fortitude save.
Thank you, Tyler.
You moved back to where it was.
How many points damage?
5. And she needs to make a fortitude save.
2080.
That's... Yes, that is successful. And the spider will end its turn because it does not have a full attack action that it can do. That brings it to Thatcher, who I remember this time, who cannot do anything. No, he can. Not do anything, no, because there's a wall there. So okay, that brings it to Sarge.
It's out of melee range, obviously. It's on the ceiling.
It is on the ceiling, and there is actually a wall obscuring it from you, so you cannot, you would not be able to hit it in ranged combat either. From your current location.
Okay.
If you were to move here, you would be underneath it, and you could hit it with ranged or melee weapons.
Just trying to decide how complicated it would be to just grab my bow again.
Free action to drop your current weapon. Move action to pick up your bow.
Just keep wheeling.
That's
Action to drop, action to pick up, and then I would have movement.
well. Free action to drop, move action to pick up, and then you could use your action to move if you wanted to.
Okay, and I can't hit it from where I am even with the ranged attack?
Even with the ranged attack from where you are, you could not, because you have a wall blocking your view.
Alright, I am going to go ahead and take the 5-foot step to get in melee range.
Okay.
Right there.
Yep.
And I'm going to go ahead and swing at it with my Urgosh. I'm going to go ahead and do just a partial attack.
That's all you can do, so go ahead. Oh, no, actually, you could do it because you only took a 5-foot step. Okay, yeah, so all you want to do is a...
I'm betting I want the +2 for my attack, so that's what I'm going for.
Okay, you are aware that as a large creature, it is harder for such a creature to dodge, so you feel like generally it would be easier to hit than something like the ooze. If you still only want to take a partial attack, that's your call.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go for the full attack. I forgot about that. Okay, first one would be 11. Second one is going to be 19.
19 hits.
4 plus 1 is 5.
Ooh, not bad, not bad. It's looking pretty spooked. That brings it to Ravi. You are within melee range of it if you wanted to attack diagonally upwards.
No, I'm gonna cast Cure Light Wounds, and I'm gonna use it on Sarge, but I want to activate my amulet so it also heals me.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for healing.
And 8 plus 9. 15 total.
For me?
Yeah, for both of us.
And 23 beats your armor class, correct, Ravi?
Yeah. Fuck, I forgot about that.
Oh, that's max damage. You take 11 points of damage, and I need you to make a fortitude save.
Fuck your fortitude saves.
Oh, you're gonna hate when the secondary damage starts piling on.
Natural 20.
That is an auto success. I don't know why you sound so angry about it. Like, it's a really low save. Pretty much the only way you're not going to succeed is on a natural one. Well, maybe like a natural 1 through 3. Yeah, so you healed 15, you took 11, and then you do still have movement if you would like to.
No, I'll stay where I am for now.
Yeah. And then she took 11, Michelle.
I then she took 11. Okay.
I got it.
And then could you put me up to full 62?
I could, yeah. If, yep, okay, done. No, I'm sorry. Did you say you did or did not want to move, Robbie?
No, I'll stay where I'm at.
Okay, that brings it to Shinaru.
I'll go ahead and knock another 2 arrows for rapid shot.
Okay.
Okay, first shot is 16 plus 11.
That
which is
hits.
20. 17 for the other one.
That hits.
So yeah, 15.
It had 6 hit points, so you fire 2 shots. One going into its thorax, one going into its eye. It lets out a hiss, and its legs go limp, and it falls to the ground, partially, just slightly, on top of Sarge. The monster spider is dead, and Ravi, you are standing in a pool, in a puddle of slimy, dead ooze around your feet.
Can we get the spider off the screen, please?
Sure.
I shake it off, kick it down the hallway.
Yeah, alright, you managed to push it down about 5 feet. What do you guys do?
I go over and I pick up my weapons from the alcove.
Okay, easy enough to do.
As far as the ooze or the ruins, like, were there any solid parts of those ruins, or was it all just kind of...
You can roll a search check. In fact, all of you could roll search checks for loot and such, if you were so inclined.
Yes, please.
I had 18.
I got 22 for mine.
Oh, good.
9 for Robbie.
Not so good for Ravi. Also, Ravi, you were hit with a lot of poison, and typically about a minute after your first save, the poison's second round comes around, so I'm going to need you to make 5 fortitude saves for me in a row.
That's exactly 5 d20, so here we go. Okay, first one is an 18.
An 11? And that's with all the bonuses.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 1 on that last one.
Saving throws, I always need to know if it's a natural 1 or a natural 20 because those are automatic failures or successes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for the first one, you managed to just barely shrug off the second round of the Great Wasp venom that had been tipped on the arrow. You managed to just barely shrug off a second round of the... Well, it actually never affected you, but the second round of the Fiendish Monstrous Centipede. You actually managed to shrug off all of the Fiendish Monstrous Centipede venom. But for the Monstrous Spider, with a natural 1, you take... Where is it? 2 points of strength damage.
Okay. So that puts my strength at a 0. 10 modifier.
Yeah, there's a difference between strength at 0 and strength modifier at 0.
Yeah.
If your strength ever hits 0, you actually die.
No, yeah, I know.
But okay.
Damn.
Yeah, because basically you are... Well, it's your muscles aren't capable of moving, your heart isn't capable of pumping, you're not capable of making yourself breathe.
Yeah.
It's but you now have cleared yourself of all the poison, and actually probably I should have you make a couple more, but I'm not going to. We're going to say that's just all of it. And then for Shinaru and Sarge, everyone who rolled higher than a 15, looking through the remains of the ooze, you quickly find your eyes drawn to a few different things. There's a glass statuette, which it seems this ooze was unable to dissolve. The statuette is crude-looking, and at one point it was probably very rigid and painfully sharp. You can make out, barely, what appears to be the shape of a woman who seems to be riding some kind of spider. You also find... it seems as though when the ooze was in its death throes, it seems to have absorbed some of the many piles of dirt spread along the floor, and something about the ooze's physiology compressed this dirt into a clay-like tablet, and one of the ooze's symbols got burned into that tablet. You also find a number of platinum coins and a number of strange gold coins that don't look like any currency you recognize.
So how many platinum?
6 platinum total.
And then how many of the gold coins?
5 gold. I'm going to put what you should put on your...
I was playing odd currency.
Well, no, because this way I can keep track of where it came from in case you come across other odd currency that is different.
Okay.
So,
The statues, like, what material did you say was the woman on the spider?
the woman on the spider was made out of glass.
Glass. And you said it was kind of worn down a little bit?
Yeah, it seems as though the ooze was able to, like, smooth it out, but wasn't able to actually fully dissolve it. There is only, I think, like, one type of acid that actually dissolves glass. 1 or 2.
Does it... I mean, is there any detail left that does it resemble at all the mermaid statue?
That's an interesting question. Go ahead and roll an intelligence check to see if you can make that kind of connection.
14 plus 1, 15.
15. You think about it. You think, well, maybe I should double check this. You pull out your mermaid statue, and the mermaid statue is very detailed, and it's carved out of wood. It's very well crafted. It's not pretty because it wasn't meant to be pretty. It was meant to be ugly because it's supposed to be a furious mermaid, so it's meant to evoke more negative emotions, but it is very well crafted. This glass statuette is not... you could not, in your head, imagine, and this might just be the dwarf in you, but you could not imagine that the same kind of person would craft something as crude and as this. And this glass statuette does appear to be much older.
Okay. Alright, I just put them both back in my pack then.
But to answer your question, Shinaru, yes, you did find a small clay tablet with one of the ooze's symbols burned into it.
found it, not me.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I know one of you rolled a 22 and one of you rolled an 18, correct?
Yeah.
Which one rolled the 22?
Muscles.
Muscles. Okay. Shinaru, you find any two of the four items first, so you get your pick of which four you found first. And I can repeat if you need me to.
There's 6 platinum.
Would I recognize anything about the statue, like its significance?
Do you have knowledge religion? Or do you bring it to the attention of anyone who does have knowledge religion?
Yeah, pretty much anyone know or seen this type of statue?
Alright, anyone who has knowledge religion can make a knowledge religion check.
On it. 14.
Oh,
Wait. That might be wrong.
I hope you're wrong.
Nope, that's right.
You look at it, you take a moment, you study this object, you roll it over in your hand, and you do not make the quick leap in logic that you would have with a 15. Whatever this is, if it has any kind of religious significance, you're unsure. Spiders weren't really taught at your monastery. Women weren't really taught at your monastery. Women riding spiders, not really taught at your monastery. You don't find any kind of religious significance in any of the scriptures that you've studied to this kind of person.
Okay.
So you use one of your choices on the statuette. What other item did you find first, Shinaru?
Weird gold. You want the weird gold? Yeah, the weird gold.
You don't want the ectocurrency?
No. I'll take the platinum statue of the tablet.
All right, so yeah, you find the statuette first, and you find the 6 pieces of platinum first, to do with as you decide. And like Sarge, with Sarge's check, Sarge does see that you found the platinum. You just found it first.
Oh no, I took the odd-looking currency.
Oh, the odd-looking currency. Okay, I'm sorry. You both were kind of quiet, so I couldn't tell who was talking. Okay.
Sorry, we were just kind of figuring this out. And
Yeah.
then, has anybody really looked at the tablet?
Not yet. I can.
For the odd-looking currency, as you inspect it, it looks like a kind of like a somewhat flat spider cast out of gold with a coin then cast around it. I wonder if there's a motif to this dungeon. Who can say?
Oh, I don't know. Could it be fluffy bunnies?
I wish.
I mean, just wait until you find out. So I'm sorry. Anyone with knowledge arcana can
Take a look at the
attempt
tablet.
to figure out if they have any idea what this tablet might be. And it's small. It's about the size of Sarge's thumb.
12.
Yeah, that looks religious.
No, that was for the Arcana check. 12.
You recognize this as one of the symbols that you immediately recognize this as one of the symbols that had been on the doorway outside. But you don't know what any significance this tablet might be. And again, it is rather small. It's about the size of, say, Sarge's thumb. Just dirt that had been compressed into like a clay-like substance with a symbol burned into it during the ooze's death throes.
Oh, okay.
You don't know if there's any residual magic. You are aware that you could find out through a detect magic spell, but you haven't read about anything like this.
Do you want me to use Detect Magic, or should we save
I
it
say
for
that
later? Spell slot. It's only a 0.
Oh, it's a 0.
Yeah. I have 5 of them, and I can only heal 1 point with my 0 level spells, so...
Did you get any magic vibes off of the statue? I was like the mermaid where it really doesn't vibe off anything.
She...
I mean, nothing outwardly, but I can do Detect Magic and check it.
Let's try the tablet first, and if we have any spell slots later.
Well, Detect Magic lasts for 10 minutes, and I can look at everything.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay, yeah. I'll cast Detect
Especially the
Magic
weird coins.
and check them over.
And the weird coins.
Yeah, I'll just check it all over. I'll check all 3 of those over.
All right, let me pull
Right.
Detect Magic up to see what you need to roll. I will. The only thing that appears magical in nature right off the bat is the tablet. Do you concentrate on the tablet? Because that's what you have to do in order to get more information.
Yeah, I'll concentrate on the tablet.
Okay, I believe it takes 3 rounds, so about 18 seconds, if I can find...
In the meantime, Sarge is pocketing the money in the statue.
So we can look at it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see. I thought you said nothing on it.
Now, to be clear, everybody with... Well, I still need to roll for Thatcher, but Ravi and Shinaru both saw you pick up the gold. You just got to it first. And possibly... Oh, there it is. That's detect poison! I don't want that one, I want the one above it! Possibly, Thatcher saw the money as well. Also, are lawful, and pocketing the money would be a chaotic act. It would not change your alignment in any way, but it would be noted for future. Just reminding you. Ravi, make a spellcraft check to see if you can figure out what kind of magic is on the tablet.
Okay. Natural 1. That's 4 total.
You know it's magic. You're pretty sure it's magic. You know that it's not that explodey magic, and you're pretty sure it's not that explodey magic because nothing exploded. But you don't know what kind of magic it is necessarily. You don't know what kind of spell might be affecting this tablet, what kind of magical effects or supernatural effect, but you're pretty sure it's magic, yeah.
Solid.
Pretty sure.
Can I look at the gold in the statue next? While the spell's still active?
Oh, no, I mean, you're just looking at the entire area. I mean, you can continue to look at the, right, because I'm sorry, I assumed you just set all the items out, you cast the spell, and you have like a 60-foot cone of vision where all magical auras are lit up.
Oh.
So you would have to focus on each item individually. If more than one item was magic, you can only focus on one magical item at a time to try to make the spellcraft check. But the only thing that showed up as magical was the tablet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yes, you can focus on the statuette next if you wanted to, but it's not magical, so you would just be staring intently at it for like 10 minutes until the spell wore off.
Oh, because I didn't hear you say whether or not it was magical. I was just like, okay, we'll just, check each one. Okay, no, if it's not magical, I don't care.
All right. I'm sorry, I'm just double checking to see that there is nothing else that I need to talk about in this area. It does not appear that there is. So I think that's a good place to end tonight, unless there's anything else you want to... Lord Thatcher does come up as you're pocketing the gold, as you're pocketing the platinum, and he's like, hey, what you doing there, buddy? Hey.
I've got a bag of holding. It's the safest place that anybody's got right now.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. He gives you like a white boy wink, like.
White boy wink.
Wink? There you go.
I just got the. Can you put me down for 2 points of psychic damage? Put me down for 6.
Actually, hold on. I will legitimately roll for this. It's 2d8 plus his charisma. So that is actually going to be 15 points of psychic damage to everyone within visual range who saw that. So Ravi and Sarge.
Ravi did take the majority of that. I only saw like the end result of it.
No. Because remember, I said he moved up to you and started talking to you. So you both take 15 points of psychic damage. Shinaru, you were perfectly fine.
Actually, doesn't he actually get points back? Yes. He heals.
Well, he's already at full health, so. Okay, actually, real quick before we end, if there's any healing you want to do, would you mind taking care of that now? You both have full. None of you have used any of your charges for the belt.
Yeah. I'm gonna burn another second level spell and use Lesser Restoration again to try and heal back that strength damage I took.
Did Thatcher take any damage?
Thatcher took some damage. Thatcher took, I believe, a total of 6 points of various damage. Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and use a charge to heal him, because I don't think he has any ability to heal himself, does he?
Not that you're aware of.
I healed 1 point of ability damage, so my strength's at 11 now instead of 10.
Okay, not too bad.
I'm gonna take 1 charge for Thatcher, and it's 2d8.
Okay, go ahead and roll.
It's not my fucking D8, yes.
And I'm gonna drink 1 healing potion that I have for myself.
As well. Jesus, I can't roll shit.
Alright, he's looking not too bad. He is looking like he's up to probably about 34 hit points.
And on that 1 Cure Light Wounds potion I drank, I healed 7 points, so I'm up to 30.
Okay. And you changed that on Roll20, correct?
I'm about to.
Okay. And you only cast 1 first level spell, correct?
Yes, I did 1 0, 1 first, and 2 second.
Okay. And 1 amulet charge.
My amulet has charges?
Yeah, you can use it 3 times per day.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I thought it was... Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so you used it once earlier where you healed yourself and Sarge for 15.
Yeah, for the 1d8, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just making sure I have all my stuff down on a sticky note in case it's like a year before we play again.
Not gonna lie, I've not had the courage to listen to us yet, because I hate hearing my own voice.
Oh, that's okay. You can barely hear you. Oh, Sarge, make a spot check real quick to see if you noticed a thing. If you noticed 2 different things.
14.
14? You do notice that your Uragosh has seemed on the slashing portion of it more so than any other part, but also a little bit on the tip of the pointy end. Does seem to have been corroded slightly by the acidic nature of the ooze that you were striking at. It's still completely functional, but it has taken some amount of damage and degradation. And you also notice that Lord Thatcher's sword is in a similar case.
I'm gonna have to get that looked at. Is it like continuous, or is it just kind of like...
No, it's just at the point of impact where you successfully hit the creature. The creature's acidic nature kind of began to corrode and slightly damage your weapon each time you hit it. But it was only while it was in contact with the creature.
Did I notice any damage? Did I hit it at all with the great axe?
You did not. You dropped the great axe before you saw it.
Oh, did I hit the centipede with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the ooze.
No,
Not the ooze.
you didn't hit the ooze with that at all. You hit that with your Urgosh.
Yeah, you dropped your great axe to pull out your bow, and you used the bow to kill a centipede.
Thing with the great axe.
Yeah. I will say, if you had hit the ooze with the great axe, you probably would have found out what that crystal did. I should say, actually, if you hit anything except the centipedes with the great axe, you would have found out what the crystal did. It's just because the centipedes disappear as soon as they die, because they're summoned creatures, you're not able to inspect the body to figure out what kind of damage was being done.